They told her she was lucky the first time. A fluke. A ranking anomaly who caught lightning in a bottle against a few top players. But on April 24th, she walked onto the red clay of Madrid, carrying something that wasn't there 2 years ago when this same opponent destroyed her in 24 minutes. And what happened next proved that some transformations can't be measured by rankings alone. You need to understand what Alexandra Eala was walking into that day. Because Elise Mertens isn't just another veteran looking for an easy win. She's the current world #1 in doubles. 6 Grand Slam titles. A player who went up 6-1, 2-0 on a top 10 opponent just days before this match. And the last time these two met, Mertens handed Eala a 6-0 bagel so brutal it lasted exactly 24 minutes. But here's where this story gets interesting. 48 hours before that Madrid match, Eala was standing on a red carpet, wearing a dress her uncle designed and shipped from Manila in 2 days. She was in a room with Novak Djokovic, Simone Biles, and Nadia Comaneci at the Laureus World Sports Awards. 20 hours later, she was back on a tennis court, winning her first round match and addressing the Madrid crowd in fluent Spanish. The bridge between those two moments isn't coincidence. It's a portrait of who this player has become. Let me give you the numbers that tell the real story. When Mertens bagged Eala in October 2023, Eala was ranked around 200th in the world and won just 9 of 32 second serve points. Fast forward to April 2026, and Eala is sitting at number 44, with a race ranking closer to 15th globally. She's collected 4 career wins over top 10 players, including victories over Madison Keys when Keys was ranked 5th. And she beat IGA Swiatek twice in the same tournament, when Swiatek was number 2 in the world. The serve that Mertens demolished in 2023 had been completely reconstructed. In the weeks before the 2026 season, Eala hit practice sessions with Rafael Nadal at his academy in Mallorca until she was physically exhausted. She described the intensity in terms that left no doubt about what she'd absorbed. Against qualifier Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova in Madrid's first round, Eala won 76% of first serve points. That number is the documented answer to what every tennis analyst had identified as her primary weakness. Now here's the part that should make you pay attention. The mathematics of this Madrid run were brutal. Eala was defending 35 ranking points from her second round exit. The previous year, a loss to Mertens would cost her 5 points and drop her further from the Roland Garros seeding threshold she desperately needed. A win would earn her 15 points and momentum heading into Rome. At number 44, she needed to reach approximately 32nd to be seeded at the French Open. The path from 44 to 32 ran directly through Elise Mertens. But there's a side to this story that the rankings don't capture. Eala's clay court record in 2026 was 2-2, and one of those losses was severe enough to raise genuine questions. 8 days before Madrid, she faced Leylah Fernandez in Stuttgart and got demolished, winning just 42% of total points in a 1-6, 4-6 loss that wasn't as close as the score suggested. It was her first match against a fellow left-hander on clay, and the tactical challenge exposed real holes in her game. 8 days is not enough time to rebuild from a performance like that. Yet something had shifted between Stuttgart and Madrid, and the evidence was in how she handled Pavlyuchenkova. The serve percentages were there. The breakpoint conversion was clinical. But Pavlyuchenkova isn't Mertens. Mertens' return game is specifically calibrated to exploit the exact vulnerabilities that produced those 9-second serve points won in their previous meeting. And this is where it gets personal. There's one voice that carries particular weight in understanding what Eala has become on clay. After their Madrid 2025 match, IGA Swiatek, the 4-time Roland Garros champion who needed 3 sets to beat Eala on this same surface, said something revealing. She acknowledged there was hype around young players, but then immediately added that she had to stay focused on herself. Parse that carefully. A player who considers an opponent purely hype doesn't typically issue that qualifier about mental management. Consider what that admission meant coming from Swiatek. She was essentially saying that Eala's threat was real enough to require psychological preparation. That was on Madrid clay, the same surface where Eala was now scheduled to face Mertens, who, unlike Swiatek, had never had to manage a 3-set match against this version of Alexandra Eala. The cultural dimension of this moment amplified everything. Every Filipino watching from Madrid to Manila had tracked that red carpet appearance and seen the video of her speaking Spanish to the crowd. 6 major Philippine media outlets published dedicated coverage within 24 hours of her first-round result. The Tennis Channel asked a question they rarely need to ask. Do you remember a women's player who gets this kind of global support wherever she goes? Here's what this all means going forward. When Eala walked onto that Caja Magica clay to face Mertens, she carried something that wasn't there in Monastir in 2023. 4 wins over top 10 players. A serve rebuilt under Nadal's intensity. The irreversible knowledge that she belongs in every room she enters. Whether it's filled with Djokovic and Biles, or with the opponent who once made her disappear in 24 minutes. That convergence, the 6-0 bagel on her record, the recent Stuttgart collapse, the ranking mathematics demanding a win just to avoid losing ground before Roland Garros, facing the current world #1 in doubles who had demolished top competition just days earlier. This is what shocking the world actually means. Not the scoreline of any single match, but the architecture of the person carrying the expectation and the weight of an entire transformation. The question isn't whether Eala has the game to compete with elite players on clay. She's already proven that against Swiatek and others. The question is whether she can solve Mertens' return game before Mertens solves her reconstructed serve, and whether that April 24th result would be the prologue or the beginning of the main chapter in her clay court evolution. Because what happens in Madrid determines everything that follows in Rome, Parma, and ultimately Paris.